Hickok 45, it's Hawken time again. All it needs is a cap. So let's put a cap on that nipple and fire at something. You know what, I thought today in chapter 2 I would start out by killing a hog. And I see one right there. Let's do it. All right, not a bad hit. He's not far away though. Anybody could do that. But I'm not sure that one got him. Let's hit him again. I think I used that joke in the first video, right? But you know, some people just are not familiar with these or lots of firearms. So, you know, you got to use whatever dad jokes you have in your at your disposal. But yeah, they're one shot, okay? Muzzle loaders for new shooters. They're one shot. Or maybe all you have are AR-15s. You're not familiar with muzzle loaders. You can load them up and fire them, and then you have to reload them. Yeah, so, but that's the cool thing about them. Yeah, and so did I say it's Hickok 45? And we're glad you came by for a chapter 2 experience with this rifle, because it's one of the prettiest muzzle loaders I think ever made, really. And it's black powder day here at the compound, and John and I have been messing around with it and shooting it, and it's kind of a fall day. And even though there's a lot of green leaves still on the trees, the air is fairly clear. It's in the 80s, and days like this were just made for shooting muzzle loaders. I think it's been maybe almost a year since I've brought you in on any shooting with this firearm. And I've had a few changes with it. I think I told you I found it at a gun show. I think it was Masonville, Kentucky, or Paducah, Kentucky, or somewhere up in there. And in really good shape, and just like the one I used to have. I'll link definitely to the first video, because I talk a lot about that stuff and the history of Thompson Center and everything. I'll probably repeat myself today as I yak and load. But and in the first video, you notice the ball was pretty tight. I'm using the 430 thousandths. Yeah, these are or 5. Yeah, these are 526. The ones I was using in the first video were which I normally use, 530 thousandths. Okay, and they seem to work well on the Lyman that I have, and I think also my Mississippi rifle. But they were really tight in this with this patch, and so up at Friendship, I bought some at the muzzle loading championships. I bought some slightly smaller. These are Rush Creek, right? I always end up buying there. In fact, I met the guy that makes them, and I've been shooting these for many years. And I got just a smaller ball. I thought I'd try that, and they load better. They load more normally, like they ought to. So apparently the bore on this is just slightly smaller than the Lyman. I don't know. I'll get it out again. Maybe we can do a comparison sometime. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, back out with this beautiful rifle. And appreciate you all coming by, especially. So you can see all the accoutrements out here. Some of it's just for looks, my patch knife and different things that I use, things that I might need as I'm you know, involved in this endeavor. And here's something I got too at Friendship. I was just up there a couple of weeks ago. Okay, and you might have seen the postings I put on Facebook or Instagram about that. Was this spout? Okay, it's kind of neat, because you drill a hole in the cap and it's got a screw underneath it or a bolt, and you get that affixed to your cap, and because all the cans look like this now, they're this polymer, and it's got a cover on it. So here's my measure. I'm going to load up so I'll show you what it is. So you fill up your measure, whatever that is, and you set that over there, and so you got it capped, and it, you know, helps protect. You get a spark over there or something, especially if you're firing a flintlock. Sparks go everywhere, and you don't want that to happen. So that's kind of neat. I had to install that one myself. This place that sells all kinds of brass things and measures. I don't really know who it was, but they sell all that stuff, and I just picked it up there. Thought I'd try that. I really like it. I really do. And so, like I say, these balls load a little better. Yeah. If I were in competition, as I've talked about before, and having to try to get the highest level of accuracy that is possible out of a muzzleloader, folks end up loading them really tight, tighter than this even. and you got to really work at that. I've talked about that. I repeat myself to some extent when I'm doing a muzzle loader video. It's unavoidable because I'm kind of talking about things that a lot of you are not familiar with, and I assume it could be your first muzzle loader video you've ever seen, not just ours, but maybe ever. So why don't we just put one on the gong here? If we don't do anything else, we have to do that, don't we? All right. This one's for Davy Crockett. All right. Yeah, it is. I'll tell you what, look at that smoke. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. As I mentioned in the first video, this was my first muzzleloading rifle, a Thompson Center Hawken. It was in 50. This one's 54. But they're known for being well-made rifles, American-made. Don't make them anymore. They quit making them about 8 years ago, something like that. And but they're still around, and I highly recommend them if you find one that's used. And with a muzzleloader, you always want to check the bore. It's the same with any firearm, but you know, if somebody has not cleaned it well, you could really have issues with the bore being rusty and that kind of thing. So always check the bore. If you're in the market for one, it's always good to have a little flashlight, because you know, you can't get a bore light back there as well. A little flashlight, a little tubular flashlight about the size, well, I don't know what size, but it's smaller than the bore, okay? I can't think who makes them. Have had one or two like that, but you know, ideally if you had one about the size of that, it would be perfect, wouldn't it? And you just turn it on and drop it down in there kind of backwards and let it slide down to the bottom, and then look down the bore, and you get a beautiful picture of the rifling and everything. Just you can shine a light down in there too and get a pretty good look, but that really works. So anyway, pretty cool, pretty cool. And let's see, oh, we got a patch box. I think I'm gonna get a patch out of there this time. How's that? Yeah, let's use this one. Ah, look what's in there. Ben Franklin. You never know what you find in a patch box. Oh, I guess that was a reminder to thank atmix.com, another supporter of the channel. And we happen to have a couple items from Atmix out there. We appreciate their help. They're a huge online precious metals dealer, as you know. Links in our description. Atmix.com. Silver, gold, silver dollars, old coins, jewelry, you name it. Yeah. And also I brought out the Double Eagle $20 gold piece. These are really beautiful. And because, you know, I was thinking, and I got this from Atmix, but beside the point, the same time that these rifles were being used, you know, these coins were kind of being made. You know, if you're familiar with the gold rush, California, I guess it was the Comstock load, 1848, 49, along in there, when they struck gold out there in such a big way in California and started mining it, and we had ample amounts of gold. That's when they started making the $20 gold piece. Did you know that? They've been making, what, 5s and 2.5, whatever, and $10 gold pieces, the Eagle. And with so much gold that it was easy to convince the government, or they decided on to start making a bigger coin, a $20 gold piece. So it's kind of neat. It's a little history there you didn't ask about, but I thought I'd let you know. So anyway, you don't know what you'll find in the patch box, so you always want to check it. And I need to remember to do that when I'm especially on camera, because it might be something interesting. I think there was a flash drive in there one time, wasn't there? So yeah, let me run a patch down through here. We'll shoot a few times, not overdo it. Anything else? Oh, I know what I was going to tell you too. One thing you can do, this is not an original, like I have a couple Civil War rifles that were used in battle. But you know, these were made in like 70s and the 80s and the 90s, and so they're relatively new. The reproductions of the old Hawken. I talked about that more in the other video that I'll link to. But they use generally a number 11 cap or nipple. You know, it takes a number 11 cap, which is smaller than these musket caps I'm using today. And one thing that a lot of people do, not everybody, but I decided to try it on this one. I didn't do that on my other Thompson Centers, was I replaced the nipple I don't know who makes it, but they're companies that make replacement nipples that are for musket caps, because muskets are a little bigger. The caps are, I don't have any other smaller ones out here, but you can see that's a big old cap, a lot of fire involved, designed to shoot, a muzzle loader, a musket, rifle musket, Civil War musket, or whatever. So they're bigger, they're easier to mess with, my big old hands or anybody. There's little number 11s and number 10 caps, like itty bitty, put it on that little nipple. But these are just bigger and easier to mess with, a little more fire. And so a lot of people do that, including me now. Okay. So just thought I'd point that out. I know you were wondering about why, some of you, that I am putting a musket cap on this Hawken rifle. So I find that pretty useful. I like that. I think I got a couple of them, and I was going to replace the nipples on my shotguns that I've gotten recently. We need to get those out again, don't we? So I think they take, am I remembering this right? They take a number 10 or 11 cap too. They're the smaller nipple, I think. I was going to replace those, but I think I ordered these. I got these when I was up at Dixie one time, and I think they don't fit the Pedersoli. I don't have to revisit that. It's been months and months, and I can't remember anything even yesterday. But I'm going to do that on those as well. So they're just easier to fool with. They're bigger. So let's run a patch. I was about to do before I was interrupted by myself. I get a little giddy when I'm doing muzzle loading. It's good to run a patch through. I lightly oil it. And of course, that's when I discovered Ballistol, when I first got into black powder. Well, no, black powder cartridges actually in 1999, I guess, like that. But so it really is nice. There we go. Gotta be careful not to run a patch through there too soon, because when it's really dirty, doesn't take long for it to, there we go, get dirty, you can so easily get that. I told you all that before, but I was going to demonstrate it here. It looked like, wasn't I? Over the years, I've had that happen 3 or 4 times where I didn't wet it down at all with any Ballistol. Stick that down here because it's easier to go down than it is to come out. And so John and I had to do a little tug of war to get it out. Okay. There we go. So now the next one will be a little easier. And if you're competing, and again, going for extreme accuracy, you want to run, some people run a patch between every shot. Mainly I do it when I feel like it's going to make it harder to load if I don't. Okay. So then that shouldn't have gotten enough in there for it to matter. Don't want too much oil in there, or else you need to go back through the process. I think in one video, was it with this gun? I don't know, with one not all that long ago, maybe a year ago or something, I showed you all what I do when I bring a muzzleloader out. And I did that today before the video. I run some dry patches through there and get all the oil. Like I can keep a film of oil in there, in the nipple and everywhere when I'm not shooting it. And I run some dry patches through, and a pipe cleaner through the nipple, and get the bulk of the oil out. And then I fire some caps, just blanks, 4 or 5 maybe, to help burn it out. And then I put some powder in like this, and I put a cap on, and I shoot that. A real blank, okay, just to make sure fire is getting to the powder. Then I load a ball. Okay, these are 10,000ths of an inch. These particular patches I'm using, with a 526 ball. For those who are a little more savvy about all this, just so you know. And so I don't know. Share if you've got one of these or a 54 caliber, and you're thinking, "Wow, I'm surprised that doesn't just roll down the barrel." Well, you can see it doesn't. So, or if you see, it's tight enough, tight as I care to have it, to tell you the truth. So, and now I mark my stick again, these little cut marks, so I can tell, because it's important to get the ball down. See that mark, to get the ball down against the powder. Okay, I get a load that works. I think I'm shooting 70 grains, and I stick with it. With black powder, you could shoot 20 grains if you want to. You could put 100 grains or 120 grains, whatever, almost anything you want in there. Doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get more accuracy or all that much more an effective round. I don't know, but people can argue about that. Let's put some fire on it. And what should we shoot? Fit the gun. Let's shoot the paper target. Oh no, let's save that. Let's shoot this bowling pin. Let's see if it will knock that pin over. Do you notice I got a little bit of a hang fire with that? It might have been a little oil in there. Pretty neat. I didn't have my ears on either. But it's a big bore, it's black powder, and it doesn't hurt your ears to say, oh, that hurt, but it's not good for your ears. Okay? I'm going to load it right back up. I'll tell you why I was holding up on the paper. I thought what we'd do is, since this is one of the advantages of black powder, or the fact you're loading it like this, let's put just a little bit of powder in, just for kicks. Something that'll go through the paper, like about 20 grains. I'm gonna get down too low, end up with something not going off or something. I mean, you can do 5 grains or 10 grains. You know, you get the bore nice and clean. That's probably closer to 15 there, the way I put it in. So I used a measure. Okay, so I got, probably, but somewhere between 15 and 20 grains of powder. And the same ball. Okay. Good old Hawken. Picking up the wrong stick here. Alright. Now I didn't damage myself, injure myself with this gun or anything. I got just clearing some brush on the trail and just stuck myself with some limbs, things like that this week. Okay. So we got 20 grains of powder. So you become your own hand loader with one of these. Let's see if we can hit that target. Get that nipple on there tight. All right, now this won't be very loud. I'll go for the bullseye anyway, try to. Oops, I wasn't quite ready, but I was close. So that's neat, no recoil. That's a blast. So, you know, if you're out with one of these, you have a youngster, or someone who's never shot a firearm before, you can easily load it up to where there's no recoil at all, because, you know, you don't exactly have a soft butt plate, do you, back there? That's that brass decelerator. You know, that kicked nothing. It was like a 22 almost. So a lot of versatility, Anything else I didn't tell you about here that you're dying to know? This powder horn, you know, which the pioneers and people back in the day used a lot. You know, you just fill that with powder and put it around your neck and you have it with you. And this is another hawk I got up at Friendship, Beaverville. I like the great throwing axe. This one John got me. That's probably the coolest axe I have. Needs a little ballast on, I think. It's been hanging in the barn. And my patch knife, you've seen, I bought that in the early 70s, 73 I guess, or 4, out at Battleground Armory in Franklin, Tennessee, when it existed. And I think I'll talk about some of that in that first video. But the neat thing about shooting while I'm loading, let me pontificate a little bit more. I was thinking earlier today, the stuff and getting it out and looking at some of these things I've had, like this was Dad's powder measure. I got him into black powder, muzzle loading, and yeah, he probably bought that, and it was in the 70s, you know, and I got that and anything else here regarding that. But yes, so many of the accoutrements or knives or rifles, like Dad had one of these. He got and refinished himself, in fact, Thompson Center. But it's a shame people don't have, it doesn't have to be shooting, but a hobby of some kind that they kind of can pass down through the generations, or fishing, whatever it is, you know, with their dad, their grandpa. You know, so many people do, and it's just really special that you can think about times you were out in the boat fishing with your grandpa or your dad, maybe who's no longer around, or shooting. I have all those memories, you know, with an uncle, with Dad, with cousins, you know, out shooting at the shooting range and things like that. And I say that because shooting is just a really common outdoor activity that so many people do, and often with family. And you know, I hope these people that just are so rabid anti-gunners, they have some kind of hobbies. You know, do they get out and do anything? And you know, with family and friends, and have a history, you know, I hope. But firearms is an area that just lends itself well to that. You know, this is my experience. I have friends I've had since the 70s that I got to know as an adult. We get together and we shoot and, you know, talk about firearms we've traded, we've owned over the years, and that kind of thing. It's just a really neat hobby. And whether it's modern firearms or muzzle-loaders, cowboy guns, or AR-15s, you know, those of us that are a part of the hobby and the endeavor, supporters of the Second Amendment, you know, none of these firearms are scary to us, because guess why? Even if it's an M60 or fully automatic firearm, they're not scary. Nothing scary about that in my hands or anybody I know, because you know why? There's nothing scary about us. You know, there's nothing scary about my friends or family or people I know, other than John, of course, right? He's a little scary. But, you know, so anyway, a little editorializing there while I'm loading up. So if you haven't tried black powder, it's part of the moral to that story. Give it a whirl. You know, you need to study up a little bit. You don't want to blow yourself up, but you're not likely to do that. Yeah, really. Okay, so the good old Hawken, such a cool rifle, and let's put some fire on it. And I don't know, we may just shoot it one more time. I don't like to keep you all too late. You know, there is a Desperado down there. But you know, I wonder, let's try that coffin over there first though. Since we've got a rifle here, we don't want to just shoot close targets. All right, coffin. Let's see if I can ring it. I heard it. I heard it. I didn't see it. You know why? Because my vision, my line of sight was covered with smoke. It was obscured. 54 caliber Thompson Center. Yeah, they quit making these things. Too bad. They're owned, I think, by Smith & Wesson. I'll shoot one more time. Is that all right? They're owned by Smith & Wesson, I think. They still make a lot of different firearms. The Contender, I keep meaning to get one of those. I will do that. I had a Contender, which is the, it's an interchangeable barrel handgun, more or less. And I had one of those, and 44 Magnum, the barrel. I had a 5.56 barrel, even. And a couple others, 44 Magnum, whatnot. So I've had one of those. As you all know, I've talked about it a lot, shooting the breeze videos, radio shows. I've had a lot of guns in my life, a lot of different things I just maybe haven't had in the last 10 or 12 years that we've been knowing each other, right? So, just like a lot of shooters and firearms collectors, you know, a lot of things come and go. We trade, sell, and there we go. All right, 54 caliber. I like 54. It's just a nice middle of the road caliber. I like 58 as well, especially in mini ball. Oh, you know what? I will. All right. I'll probably beat on that too hard. If you don't want to damage the ball or you may lose accuracy, let me get a cap over here. And you know, I forgot one thing. I'll have to shoot one more time, so you'll need to hang around just a little bit longer than you wanted to, okay? Because I got something here I hadn't shot before. Oh, let's try the propane tank since we have. No, let's shoot a 2-liter. I'll save this other round for that. We got it. All right. Jeremiah Johnson to have taken out a 2-liter. Yeah, I forgot. How could I forget? I bought some of these maxi balls. I don't know where I got them. I've had them around a while, but I thought I'd try one. They're 400 and either 25 or 75 grains. I forget. So I got to shoot one of those. I thought that propane tank might be a good place to do that. Here we go. Keep making that mistake. Now, I may have done it, John. We may have to cut the tape. Tell you what I'll do. I'll show you what my strategy is for this. No, it's not put powder in and shoot it out. I'm gonna put some oil down there. That's the thing. I didn't put any oil in, and we'll probably do an edit here and get it cleared out, and I'll shoot that maxi ball or mini ball, whatever maxi ball they're called. Okay, so this sometimes will do it, but probably not. So I've told you all about this and how I've made this mistake before, but you know, I sit here and do it right in front of you. I mean, it's not all that stupid, because I hadn't fired but what, once or twice since I you know, ran a patch down through there. So oh, look at that, it worked. Yeah, we won't have to cut the tape. Okay, there we go. I'll pick those up. All right, now though, what do I need to do? I need to dry it out, don't I? Take this last shot. So life is a learning experience, especially for me. I'm a slow learner, so I get lots of learning experiences. There's an advantage to everything. You know, as Emerson said in his essay on what's called compensation, you know, there's just an advantage to almost anything. There we go. This board does seem to get dirty awfully easy. So we'll put one more in here, make sure it's dry. So be wary of that. I tell you, like I said, John and I have had to do a tug of war to get that out. And of course it's safe. You know, you fired the only round in there out. That's why it's dirty. So it's not like you're pointing a gun at anybody that could be loaded. There absolutely is no way it could be loaded. And so one person though gets a hold of the ramrod and one to hold the gun, and you're just pulling as hard as you possibly can. There we go. All right. So now this though is easier to load. All right, hopefully we didn't. I'll tell you what I'll do to make sure. I'll put a cap on here and fire it. I don't think I got any juice down there in the chamber. All right, so here's what we got. We've got this mini ball. Let's put some powder in. And yeah, I like this little attachment for the can. All right, some powder in. Again, I'm shooting about 70 grains. I could shoot more, I could shoot less. Now, I'm assuming these are the right size. Usually they go down a little easier than a ball. Watch it be really tight or something. Oh man, it is tight. Let's see. Okay, have to wrap it pretty hard. Okay, yeah, that ought to be pretty accurate. That's a tight rascal. Where's my key? Yeah, that's okay. It's fully down. Okay, heavy ball, heavy maxi ball. Fire. So I saved this for. I knocked over the propane tank, or that. Well, that's okay. Let's put this on the pig. You know, this is the kind of round you'd want if you were sighting down the barrel at a hog. So let's put this heavy round on that. Okay, Mr. Hog. Boom! That rocked him. Look at him shake. Pretty good hit, I guess. I'm not a hunter, but I think that's kind of the area where you want to hit. Woo! So some of you might use those if you hunt with one of these. A lot of people do shoot a maxi ball or a mini ball, a conical round of some sort. So anyway, that's just a little more fun with the Hawken rifle. You know, I like this one. I like the Lyman I have. They're both great and just fun to shoot. I think, well, this one's prettier maybe with the brass on it. But I just like these half stock octagonal barrel muzzle loaders. They're just they're fun to shoot, and big bore. You know, can't hate a big bore rifle of any kind, can you? So I don't know if that helps you. If you're looking at a muzzle loader, there are companies that make these, Traditions, and a lot of them come out of Italy, of course. I guess almost all of them nowadays. Pedersoli. Something you might want to try sometime. And of course, you got the modern inline muzzle loaders as well. You know, a lot of people love those. You know, I'm more of a traditionalist. If I'm going to shoot this stuff, since I don't hunt, I'm going to, if I did hunt, I'm gonna shoot this stuff because I'm a traditionalist. I love these original kind of designs. So I talk a little bit more about that and the Hawken brothers in the first video. And I'm just going to shut up now because John and I might shoot some more, and we'll let you know how it goes. You know, if we have problems, John gets a ball stuck in there, or gets a patch stuck in there, or dry balls. You know, you've seen me do that on purpose in a video. It was with the Civil War rifle, and the method I used to clear it out. Okay, I have since picked up a screw attachment to put on a ramrod. So the next time I dry ball, that means putting the ball in, forgetting the powder. Rather than taking the nipple off and putting powder behind it, I think I'll first try to screw that thing into it and pull it out from the muzzle. People have written me and told me that it works really well. Seems to me it'd be really kind of tricky to get that thing screwed into the ball maybe, and then also to pull it out. You see the trouble a patch can cause. Of course, a patch is trying to bunch up as you pull it back out. That kind of deal, like fish hook effect, you know, so it's going to be easier going in than coming back out. So anyway, I appreciate you coming by and enjoying some black powder. And for those 3 or 4 people that are still with us, we especially appreciate you. Actually, it's more than that, because we have discovered quite a few people, even if you don't have one of these, you have some interest in them, and I'm glad to see that. Life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. You know, really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com. And also, while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here. Also, while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter, The Real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.